In order to announce our next speaker, I will have to say, yes, you will use it, I will sit there. I will just have to ask you, can we talk about shared societies and values if we are integrating the education into economic agenda and use the neoliberal policy, meaning the buzzwords such as efficiency, um, and competition and yeah, those kind of things. So it's really a great input for our next speaker. Dr. Zucconi, please take the floor. I will sit right at your place. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to go there because I think I'm not going to be able to see my PowerPoint from there. And sorry for my funny English, but thank you for inviting me here. As a citizen, I'm already really reassured. What I heard, especially at the first round, if decision makers, like you know, we heard this morning, where the normality instead of the exception, we wouldn't be really needing to talk about so much about problems because the solution would be already actualized. Well, my topic is on education and more than anything on the social construction of education. This is not so uncommon in panorama. Albert Einstein, one of our founders of the World Academy of Arts and Science, said, and I really agree with him, we cannot solve the problems of today at the level of thinking at which they were first created. What I want to share with you is my opinion that actually education, you know, I think we have some scientific proof that at time education, not for evil intents of anybody, but has been a problem instead of giving us tools for solution. Why? Because it's ineffective. And so we are, I think, left hanging like this poor bear for the melting of ice. We really need, and fast, some new and effective ways to cope to meet our present and future challenges. It's not an intellectual opinion. I think is, you know, you need really to be blind not to understand that. So, what is the solution? Well, first of all, we know that we have plenty of scientific evidence that our relationship with ourselves, with others, and the planet is the main factor influencing our lives. And that's really, you know, an important point for building a shared society. So we need to think but first of all, to see and to feel in a way that is helping us to see the relationship, not to be blind to the complex relationship. And since education is one of the major building blocks of the social construction of reality. Social construction of reality, I'm talking about the basic concept of sociology of knowledge, is you know, what is reality in a culture, in a religion, in science? And so in our era, which is called the Anthropocene era by the fact that human beings affect mainly the situation of the planet, the recent problems that we see every day in television, on the newspaper, actually have been created also by ignorance, alienation, you know, to feel that the other is not another fellow human being worth of my respect and understanding, but a foreigner, you know, because it has more melatonin on his face or her face, is somebody to be distrustful, fear. and also a very limited reductionistic education have contributed to create a lot of problems. You know, here I was speaking about the head of states, diplomats, prime minister, but those were little kids. Those were, you know, educated, first of all, by their family of origin. Their best teacher in the first year were their parents. And then kindergarten, their peers. And then the fable, what they saw in television, their role models. And then they went to school. That is education, not just the classroom. And then they became professional. They didn't become a decision maker by magic. You know, they didn't graduate being born a decision maker, at least not in democracy. And so our social construction of professional is really, really obsolete and problematic, because our profession is not being somebody that is an expert abbot of sociology of profession. We were knowing this and talking about this in 1988. He wrote this. It's half a century that we know that there's the problem. And so why? Why we built doctors that know everything about pathology, but very little about promoting health? Why we graduate economists, some of my friends even here are, but know very little how to promote human capital and real wealth and prosperity, and a lot about finance and marketing? Why we graduate agronomists that know very well how to use fertilizer and bug killers to have the maximum yield, but are blind that you know, those bug killers would pollute all the drinking water sources, and that the intense fertilization of soil would destroy the productivity of the soil, that would need more fertilizer, and that fertilizer doesn't stop there, that with the rain it would go in the ocean and acidify the ocean. The obvious, in other words, the relationship. But why? Because the power struggle among profession and turf war still go about the issue of power, not about having professionals that are really professional. What is a real professional? Somebody that profess what? Value. What? The profession, whatever it is to use in science and conscience to do the best for the clients, whatever it is, the state or the individual. So, fragmented knowledge is really a form of disempowerment. It's really a form of getting an handicap, like a virus. So we really badly need to make education more functional to the pressing needs of society. And what I mean is that instead of teachers, we need to train effective facilitator of learners, people that would share their passion for learning. That's different than teaching, going by rote. You know, it's a relationship of love, of giving, and you have to be enriched by your passion. You know, learning is like making love. Learning is like chewing on a ripe peach. It has to be pleasurable. Otherwise, it's boring, it's alienating, it's counterproductive. And so, from subject-centered to human-centered, from passive to active learning, you know, learn how to learn. So, from memorization to original thinking and curiosity, from academic theoretical to life-centered knowledge, from fragmented to integrated one. So, from standardized process to, culture and community-centered, developing what? Resilience. We already heard this. We heard that. I totally agree with the colleagues that I heard before. And creating individuality. To have a shared society, I have to know who is me, I have to be able to relate to myself and all the different parts of myself and agree that I have different, and that is a health, sometimes needs, sometimes voices, the part of my ego, and that is okay. And then as an adult, I decided what has priority. And so I can accept the different part of myself, I can accept the different part of society. That's as easy as difficult as that. Not only in my opinion, we have mountains of research. It's called mental health. So, education should be explicitly also value-based and related to the comprehensive agenda of fundamental human rights. Yes to diversity, yes to plurality, but a common core of value which we agree on human rights. So, in doing this for a new education, it would be wrong to think that it's going to create and we need to bring together and brainstorm just the university. Because if they were already able to do that, of course there was already done. We need to bring all the part of society because there is a wisdom that should not be unheard. And also people that have nothing to do with academia can give the most perceptive idea. Sometimes people that live in everyday life and don't have a PhD have more wisdom than people that have 3. So this, in my opinion, I do have a lot of degrees, but I think sometimes I forgot through education what I learned from life, just looking at the sunset or going fishing. I'm not kidding. So I think is fundamental all this for the maintenance and creation of shared society and value. And there are a lot of, examples in history. They are not been on the majority. One of the many initiatives is what we have created at the World Academy of Art and Science, and everybody that is interested is welcome to participate, to create a process of collaboration about all the stakeholders, so not only university, but NGO, anybody. And we have, we also give away free education through streaming, just on terms of we doing this research. And we're developing also a passport of competency, because it's very funny. My body, if I have a passport that pass through any airport detector, now some sniff you and give you but then after a little, bother, you pass. But your competence stay behind, You cannot bring what you are across borders. That's crazy in terms of cost and benefits. And so we need to create an action research where there is no subject to be researched, but everybody is empowered to be an active subject of this creation. And so the process is also a product. Yes. Well, this I have to go very quickly. And I would say that I really appreciate what the friends in Bosnia and Herzegovina are trying to do. And I think that your tragic past can be an enormous learning experience. So the tragedy is not wasted. The suffering is not wasted. This is true for our own lives. It's true for me that I'm from Italy. My tragedy should help me to learn something about. Otherwise, it's all wasted pain. So, paradoxically, such, tragic recent past could be actually a springboard for Bosnia and Herzegovina, since it needs it and is aware, to become a leader, a role model, by learning from the past and creating a functional social learning process that is based not on different religions and groups, but based on people, based on person. Something that is not only badly needed in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but all over the world. And of course, my suggestion is not just to change and make law grandiose projects. Those usually bring ruins. Actually, to start small and have some pilot project where ideas are carefully evaluated and then put to fruition, carefully researched, and then shared. And a pilot project wouldn't be preaching to people. It would be actually facilitating human development of potentiality on a win-win basis. Let me give you an example. If 4 different people have a startup, like our friend Abdulaziz already showed that they are promoting entrepreneurship. In my opinion, promoting entrepreneurship is promoting change. He said, this would change Saudi Arabia culture. Exactly. Right on. To promote win-win project, small, where people show to themselves and then to their community that everybody can win, can make a sustainable business where they earn significant money. That would be more convincing than a lot of preaching, to show role model also, to have stories, to see in television, things that are giving the right message, so to speak. So I really thank you in Bosnia and Herzegovina for this Shared Society Daring Project. Also, the Club of Madrid for promoting this around the world. And my wish as a citizen of this planet, that from a shared society, we can also go to where we need a shared planet. Thank you.